Welcome one and all to the DL Debate. Thanks so much for tuning in. Now on Highland Radio or back via the podcast. This is your weekly GA Roundup. I'm joined, of course, as ever by Joe Dex, who's producing the show, keeping an eye on me. Thanks very much to Ivan Borland there and the Power Hour Plus, putting the beats on as ever, getting things moving on a Monday evening. As I say, I have a couple of announcements just to make before we start the show. One is about a big night that's coming up on May 18th in the Mount Errigal, St Eunan's College. It's a fundraiser evening, a night of legends. I'll be there, but I'm not including myself in the legend category. Let me tell you, there's some real legends coming in the form, of course, the one and only Michael Murphy, Rory Kavanagh, Big Neil Gallagher, Colin McFadden, to name but a few. Charlie Collins is going to be comparing it, so get behind that. May 18th in the Mount Errigal, starting at 7:30. Tickets available for that night. Come along and support. We've got Donegal's opening game in the All-Ireland series. How this All-Ireland series is going to go, we're not too sure as Donegal fans. We live in hope, but the first game is away to Clare. Of course, got a bit of a tanking by Kerry yesterday in that Munster final. That is fixed for Saturday the 20th of May in Cusack Park, Ennis throw-in at 2 p.m. There'll be a 2-week gap then until we meet the Ulster champions. Another handy one for us, either be Derry or Armagh. They'll be coming to Ballybofey on that June bank holiday weekend, and Donegal's third game against Monaghan will be at a neutral venue the weekend of 17th of June. Tyrone will start their All-Ireland campaign against Connacht champions Galway. Tasty game that. That game has been fixed for Saturday the 20th at Pearse Stadium, Salthill, with a 5:15 throw-in. And the big Kerry Mayo clash, one of the highlights, I think, of those opening games is at 3 p.m. Killarney on that same day. Now, it was a busy weekend across sport. I was here, there and everywhere. I was up in Clones on Saturday watching our minors coming up short against Monaghan. Their coach Brendan Kilcoyne spoke to me after the game. His interview will be coming up now soon, and we also have a special live feature tonight. Really looking forward to this one. Bert and Donegal hurling legend Joe Boyle will be on the show to talk about his career. What a tale, what a man. I'm really looking forward to this. But first up, as I say, I was in Lifford yesterday, Clones Saturday, Lifford yesterday to watch our ladies in the Ulster Championship take a bit of a heavy defeat to Armagh. And after the match, as the match wound down, I spoke with Maureen O'Donnell, and she summed up the game and also where Donegal are at currently.
Donegal County Council's Culture Division launches the Donegal Baltina Arts Festival 2023. The Baltina Festival is Ireland's national arts and creativity festival for older people. It will be celebrated throughout the month of May in libraries, day centres and cultural venues throughout Donegal. Featured events include craft and writing workshops, talks, music, dance, theatre and much more. So why not download the festival brochure at donegallibrary.ie, or for further details contact us at 074 91 75384.
Hi folks, Paul McDevitt here, inviting you to join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for another edition of the Monday Night Sessions. On the show this week, we welcome the brilliant One for the Road. We'll also be joined by our Dra singer-songwriter Sean McMonigal, and we've also got the very best of new releases from throughout the country. So, that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on Highland Radio.
Check out the new spring-summer ranges, now in stock at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. Top casual brands include Mishmash, Sixth Sense, Tommy Bow and Penguin. If you're going to a wedding or other big event, formal wear names include Rimazumo, Andre and White Label. Special packages are available for wedding parties. Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
The DL Debate with Sister Saras Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Saras Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yeah, Yeah, absolute class. We're just saying what a joy to watch the footballer of her ability out there. She's just sailing the ball. But you see, that's experience too, Brendan. She knows how to use the breeze. She's hitting shots from far out. She's just getting the ball in the right position, turning and slotting the ball over the bar. And you can't defend that, Brendan. You can't.
But again, most of our play, as we've mentioned in the last link, coming from the likes of Niamh Haggerty, trying to get Karen Godfrey on the ball, but there's been very little impact inside for our forwards. The Armagh defence have stood solid, and then when they break, they're breaking in the space, and they've so many dangerous players.
Yeah, that's it. I suppose, we said maybe going on to half time, you'd be happy to be 2 points up, but you see what the breeze has caused out here today. Like maybe Donegal should have been ahead a wee bit further going on at half time. What the breeze, maybe used the breeze to their advantage, but Armagh come out and used that breeze to their advantage, and Donegal just haven't been able to get inside, and that's just the bottom line here today. The firepower up front hasn't been there and haven't been putting enough scores on the board, but then you're up against that class of Amy Mackin and Aoife McCoy and the likes of Captain Kelly Mallon on the other side. Like Armagh haven't changed really their team over the last 4 years. Donegal have lost an awful lot of players there, and transition, a lot of young players on there, Brendan, a lot of unexperienced players. Gain the experience, which is good for Donegal going forward, but we'll not probably see a really strong Donegal team for a number of years yet.
Yeah. And Mo, you think it's a rebuilding process, this Armagh team, further down the line, and some of those household names you mentioned, those brilliant forwards in particular, they have, you can see the value of that, because in terms of having a response to Amy Mackin, we haven't had that type of player on the pitch that we would have had previous.
No, that's the thing. You see, as I say, like Armagh have 3 Ulster titles under the belt. They're going for 4 in a row this year, and I can't see them being beat with the current form they're at. And then you look at Donegal relegated to Division 2, a very poor league campaign, and just struggling even here in championship games like this here in their own home territory and effort. So you're probably looking at Donegal Armagh final now, but at the end of the day, you probably with Armagh's form out there today and the players and the abilities and players, what a rasping goal there from Captain Kelly Mallon there, and that's the experience that Armagh have. They're just streets ahead today out there, as you can see.
How are Donegal going to bridge that gap going into an Ulster final? It's a very difficult proposition.
It's tough, you mentioned Maxie, and what do you do? But you got to play the cards you have this year. When he's been on now for a number of years, and this is the first year where he's had a huge number of young and experienced players coming onto the panel, and at the other side of that, losing a lot of experience. So, every team will go through that. It swings and roundabouts. You have to prepare for that. You have to prepare for the future, and we have to accept where Donegal's at this stage of the game now. We've lost players. We're regrouping, reforming a new team, and you look out there, it's very positive. There's some really young, great calibre players out there coming forward, and these are the girls we have to work with now for the future and try and get back to where we were before, Brendan.
And definitely, Mo, there's no sign of these players, because the rumours were going that some of them may come back, and of course your own clubmate Jerry McLaughlin, but it seems like you think time has been called on a lot of these players, that it is a definite now that what panel Maxie Kern has is what he has to work with.
Yeah, I absolutely think that at this stage, it's late for any game, any girl to be coming onto the panel, or any player to be coming onto that panel so late on the game. Like after Ulster Championship will be finished out now in a couple of weeks, but the Ulster final probably between Donegal and Armagh, as we said. After that, you go into All Ireland campaign. You need to be putting some solid performances under your belt before you go on to an All Ireland Championship. So the likes of probably Yvonne, they're still playing club football. Yvonne's playing club football. Gerald's playing club football. But at this stage, if they were going to be back, they will be back, Brendan.
Yeah.
Great roundup from Maureen O'Donnell as ever. She knows all about the ladies scene. Sorry, I took an ad break by mistake there. Not Joe Dex's fault. That's me getting used to these buttons before Maureen come on. Anyway, not to worry. As I say, on Saturday we made the trip to Clonus. Always strange going to Clonus when there's not much traffic about, and you have one of those easy runs in and out of Clonus. But Donegal coming up a bit short against a decent, well-drilled Monaghan side. A very poor first half. They battled back well in the second half and actually had a chance of a goal late on in the game to snatch a draw, but to be honest, Monaghan was a better side. And after the match, I caught up with Donegal minor coach Brendan Kilcoyne.
really
Donegal
improved
Miners,
defensively, as you can see out there today as well.
Brendan,
Look, you never know.
battled well
This is the
second
problem.
half,
This
but
year was
with
wide
a big
open
gap
for
in the
All-Ireland
first half,
Championship, I felt.
it was a
And I felt
difficult game
Donegal
to come back
didn't
into,
well.
but
Last week in
sides in the
All-Ireland
second half
semi-final, this
of
would have been a
improvement
perfect
after a
year.
very tough
Meter on the
first
back
half against
foot.
Monaghan.
Yeah, definitely, Brendan. I think that sums it up pretty well. We started very slow out of the blocks today for some reason. Very flat in the first half. But to be fair to the guys, they came out in the second half and they gave it a good shot. And we were kind of with them going down the straight. And you have to give credit to Monaghan. I think they were a better team in the day and they deserved to win. I don't think that's disputable. But we gave ourselves a chance coming down the final straight, and that's encouraging from our point of view. We now have a quarter final, I think, Brendan, next week against Cavan, and that's going to be a big test for us. So, we know we need to improve. That the last couple of weekends just haven't been at the level that we think we're capable of. But the second half will give us some encouragement in that respect.
Yeah, and Brendan, the game, and particularly the first half, is dictated on kickouts, and particularly we couldn't get our kick out. The pressure was coming on from Monaghan. We went short a few times, we gained possession, but as if there wasn't enough movement from the lads, and the man on the ball was under pressure, and Monaghan seemed to sense that and really just attacked our kick out, and as a result we couldn't really get out of the pressure.
Yeah, that's fair comment too, Brendan. We did struggle in the first half and Monaghan dominated possession, and they're dominated territory, so we were kind of camped in our own half. We found it hard to get out, and when we did get on the ball we just didn't get the support around the man in possession of the ball, and that was a problem for us. And we to be fair to Monaghan, they got turnovers in that area and they won frees in that area and took advantage of that. So something we're going to have to look at. We're going to have to be braver coming out of the ball. I thought we were better in that respect in the second half, albeit it was probably a bit easier with 14 men to get our kickouts away kind of thing. But Podrick's a very good kicker, so he is, and we just need to maybe create more options for him in that he can kick it out too, Brendan.
Yeah, and I felt Brendan out even before the sending off. We had really come into the game. It was like a different Donegal. We were really coming at Monaghan. We got back to that 1 point deficit that we couldn't get back to, and at that point we had Monaghan rocked, but they went up the pitch, and again inside a couple of players, particularly McGinty and Finn, they were a real handful for our defence. When they got the ball, it was as if they were going to pull a shot or get away a shot or a foul, and that foul proved vital because it gave them that 2 point cushion again.
Yeah, they got a couple of late frees there, and the two aforementioned guys, McGinty and Finn, really they're two top players. We knew they were a threat coming into the day, Brendan, and that proved the case. And particularly McGinty, he punished us for any free kick that was given inside 45 kind of yards, and okay, we can question some of the frees, and we try to coach these guys to tackle properly, and I suppose there's different interpretation of what a tackle is, and this is the ongoing discussion within the GA, Brendan, at all levels kind of thing. So it is frustrating in that respect, but that doesn't take away, Brendan, either from the fact that we came back, we put in a better second half performance, but we didn't play well enough to win the game, and Monaghan deservedly won the game.
Yeah, and a potential goal at the end there too, Brendan. We often see it, and I suppose I was just saying in commentary there, a deliberate pull down when we probably could have snatched a draw, and in fairness to the effort that we showed in the second half, I think if we had a conjure to go, we would have deserved it. But prior to that as well, I think Dara Hannigan was inside when we had turned over the ball as well. It seemed more dangerous to have the ball in your own 45 than anywhere else on the pitch because of both teams' attempts at turning over the ball, but certainly we could have snatched a draw from the game.
We could have laid on with a couple of chances, we're bearing straight down on goals, and it what looked like a rugby tackle from behind, and again, what was the black card brought in for, Brendan? And there's a yellow card and it's a crazy decision, and also that there was only 4 minutes injury time. There was an awful lot of time wasted in the second half, so there was, but that's all deviating from the point. We need to get our show back on the road for next weekend for Ulster quarter final, and
that's looking like who, Brendan?
Looking like Cavan away, probably. Right. Unfortunately, after today we could have got a home quarter final if we got a result, but unfortunately now we'll have to travel to Cavan. We know them, we had a real tough encounter with them, ding dong battle with them in the league earlier on, and we know we need to be better than we have been this weekend and last weekend to get a result there. So a bit of work to do, Brendan, but listen, encourage him second half performance.
Yeah, bit of work to do indeed for Donegal Miners, but we're going to switch our attention now to, well, it's a man that actually played for Donegal Miners, a bit of a dual star, but we're going to more concentrate on hurling today, but we certainly have to touch on his football career as well. It is Bert and Donegal man Joe Boyle. Joe, are you hearing me there?
I am, Brendan. How's things?
Joe, thanks so much for joining us. Joe, phenomenal story. I was just looking at your career in life and times, Joe, and still going strong as well, making a big impact now. You've moved outside the county, Joe. Really fascinating to get your views and some of your stories and your ideas and your inspirations on life, indeed, Joe. But funny, I was just thinking back to my dad. And your dad, of course, might be having a wee a pint looking down at us now. Joe, two men at work together, Jimmy, from years back. Of course, I was lucky enough to play with your brother, Manuel, decent hurler himself, by the way. Played a wee bit underage for Bert. Not that I was any good now, Joe, but you had Evelyn and Margaret there as well. And it was a good time to be growing up, Joe. Sport was huge in the house from early days, and at Bridgend School, Joe, and your influences that started you playing hurling and GA.
That's right, Brendan. Hey, and I suppose as you mentioned there, what big family interest, like, and as you say, Evelyn, Margaret, and Grace there, and then Manuel, of course, as well. And I remember it's funny when you're thinking back. I was going to games, and I remember Manuel would be going to all the Donegal and Burt Hurley games. And I remember I used to tag along with him as they did, and I used to always throw the pair of boots and the shorts and socks in the back of the car just in case the guys were short any night. But no, look, great memories, Brendan. As I said, hey, I was all over the county watching Burton, Donegal, and then, as you said there, then I suppose, going to primary school in Bridgend, like Colin Davis there was massive influence, like, and starting off there, he did Trojan work with especially for the Burt, you know what I mean, and like he would set up underage training there in Burt on a Saturday morning, and then at school leagues and stuff like that, lunchtime leagues after schools. He did massive amount of work with us, and in the winter then he would have took us to indoor hurley down the youth club in Burnfoot there, like, and then we went to leagues around County Derry and up around Antrim. So, as I said, he was a massive influence in the career at the start. I think anybody came through Bridgend School, had a hurl in their hand at some stage, like, if they carried it on or not, it's different. But a lot of boys, would have went through Bridgend School, and Colin Davis was a big influence there,
Yeah. Joe, funny, I spoke to a couple of people around Burton not about you, and quite a few of them said the same thing. You used to be down round the pitch, mad keen to be playing and pucking about, and mad keen obviously to go up and play for Burton, get in the senior team. But underage, Joe, you were a leader, often captain, and listen, you were playing a bit of Gaelic, playing a bit of hurling, but you were always going to excel into a Burt team that was really just dominating the Donegal hurling scene.
Look, Brendan, it seems like yesterday, to be honest. It's a long time ago now, but I suppose you look back. But no, like, I used to be down around the pitch, and to be honest with you, watching the boys train, that's what I loved. Like, going down there and just being part of it and watching them boys. You had that many lads like that I looked up to be honest. And I suppose at that time I used to go and I used to collect the slitters for the boys, and they used to always give me a slitter at the end of training then for doing it, stuff like that. And I would go home then and pretend to be one of the boys, in the garden. And I suppose that's like any young child. I suppose it's a common occurrence around the county, and that would have been me, And one thing I always wanted was to captain Burton a county final, and that's been honest, like, and won a county title, and sure, like, nothing else I could ask for. Probably at that stage, Donegal probably wasn't in the radar, it was just Burt, like, so. To play with some of them boys then, was certainly a dream come true for me, like. Yeah,
before you got there, Joe, just as I said, minor level, you're actually in the Donegal football minor squad. You must have been handy as well. Of course, Darren McDermott was getting involved in the hurling. Paul Kellahan as well. Things were beginning to get good organised, and you won an All-Ireland minor B. Must have given you a lot of belief as well to go and win a major competition like that.
I definitely, look, as you said there, I suppose around that time, like Paul Kellahan, like he'd been probably knowing more for the football, obviously, and things like that. I remember the All-Ireland 92 team, and I suppose when he came in, he became a coaching officer, I think, in Donegal, like, and then even down to Ulster. But when he came in, himself and PG O'Brien and that came in took over the under-21 team, took over the minors first actually, and then took over the 21s, and we kind of brought that wee bit of professionalism to the thing, and for us as young boys then, we thought, this is great, like, and laid a lot of things that probably we weren't doing underage hurling wise in Donegal for a while, and they brought that to the table, and we went on and we beat some great teams like along the way, and things like that, and it gave you that wee bit of belief and a bit of momentum then when you were going on to play senior hurling. And Darren at the time was over the senior team. I think when I made my debut, Darren was over the senior team, and I remember the phone call. I had obviously no mobile at that stage. I'm giving away the age here now, I suppose, but it was he rang the house, and I remember my mother saying, "Darren, if there's on the phone for you," and she says, I went down the stairs, and it was great. I got the call up. He says, "You're coming to training," and I couldn't wait. I was up in Drumbo, and I forget it, and went up to Drumbo, and then train with all the boys then at that stage, it was brilliant, to be honest, Brendan.
Yeah, not that maybe Drumbo was just the best place for hurling, as I remember it. The whole county was training
all about it yourself.
Well, it was bad enough for football, but in a skillful game like hurling, where you need the surface is way more important. I mean that thing, when you think about where it is now, Joe, with the training centre and Convoy and the pitches and the way they're laid out. I mean, they basically stuck two sets of goals in a field, and that big field that was going on down the hill, that wasn't sold at all. And then everybody was playing in the one. Joe, it must have been a bit of a disaster at nights in the winter up there trying to get a hurling match going.
Look, night and day now, the difference, if I think if young boys or anybody went up to training and that now, they would look at you, they probably wouldn't go out on day, to be honest with you. But at that time, I didn't care less, to be honest, and it probably wasn't the most best surface in the world, but at that stage, I suppose, as a 17-year-old being called up to the team, I didn't care where it would have been if it was out in the backyard, so that was massive. It didn't really bother. But as you sit there now, you look at the Centre of Excellence Convoy now and stuff like that, it's night and day. And we did a lot of training, I suppose, around O'Donnell Park at the time, too, out in the back pitch there as well, and would have played the games in the main pitch. So, you know what I mean? That was a brilliant place altogether to be doing your training and playing your games,
Yeah, and Joe, listen, you obviously, what a time you had with Donegal, 17 years, 4 All-Irelands, and many other things in it. But on the Burt thing, there was 16 in a row titles won there, Joe. There was a time that Burt was Donegal, and I was trying to get my head around that. It seems crazy, but in many ways, I suppose, Burt, then you trained as a club and as a county and won. And I suppose you trained at Burt a lot of the time then, was it? So that kind of total, I suppose, team being all Burt lads, it must have been I suppose, a strange time in many ways, but I suppose it suited in terms of if you had half the team in, it would have been more trouble. The fact that it was the whole team, you could literally do Burt and Donegal at one time.
Look, I suppose I was only at kind of around that time. I was coming into the tail end of it at that stage, I suppose. But as you said, it kind of benefited both, really, in many ways, because they kind of tied it in. Like, Burt training was Donegal training for a long time, you know what I mean? But I suppose when I started to come around, started to come on the scene then, you had an influx of boys there, like you had James O'Donnell and that from McCool's, Danny Cullen, Kevin Campbell, these boys, Colin Brannock, Eugene Organ, they were starting to come and around the place then, around an area. So, and I suppose you started to bring in a few more boys from different clubs, which, look, come here, only strengthened us as well, But for a long time, as you said, it was just a whole Burt, and look, it only benefited Burt as well, I suppose, and Donegal to have that as well. But no, they certainly flagged the flag for a long time there,
And after that, I suppose you said that a period, there was a couple of seasons where you didn't win it, but then there was a 5 in a row again. Joe, you were one of the main men at this point. You were captain and kind of leading a bit of a new wave at Burt.
Look, Brendan, I suppose, when I started to come on there, maybe you always heard that Burt's finished, and you would have heard it a lot of times that she was finished now. And look, a few of the boys might have been coming towards the end, and then there was maybe a couple of us younger boys coming in at that stage. But I suppose people thought that was the end of it. And we went then, I think it was 2010. For the first time, and I don't know how long, Burt never made the final, and this was it, Burt were finished, and that's all we heard. But, I suppose that we kind of had still a few experienced players, Mickey and Niall and Kieran Dowds, and these boys still about the place, and then myself and Enda McDermott and Benny Harrigan, these boys were in around there as well. And then we were lucky because another younger generation kind of came on that siege as well. You likes the Cricky McDermott and Ronan McDermott, Dara Grant, and these kind of boys. So we were lucky then that they came on, and we had a great team. We went on to won 5 in a row, and I was fortunate enough, to be captain of that team a few times. So that was obviously, massive for us, and it's something that kind of sticks out in my head, because as I said, when I was going down to Burt pitch, as a young boy, all I wanted to do was to be there on county final day for Bortlick and to lift the cup, was just probably that bit of extra special as well. And to go on and won the 5 in a row, and around that, when you heard so much stuff that we were kind of gone, to come back and do it was brilliant, Brendan.
Yeah. And you had an Ulster title in there as well, Joe. Mickey McCann was on to me about a game they were short. You landed, you had 4 points, you were only 16 in the Ulster club game. That's the first time they got a real sense that this young fellow is going to be a serious hurler. I know you more reverted back to the half back line after that, but that was his first memory of you really coming down and setting down a marker. But you lifted an Ulster title, of course, and an All-Ireland Junior Sevens as well.
Aye, as I said, as you were on there, I suppose, remember that game? I was half forward. I think I started off half forward for a while, and I think it was Paul Killen actually moved me back in the under 20s, 21s at the time for into the half back line. I kind of stayed there then, and Ray Jurek, who would been a big influence there as well. He kind of preferred me in the defence as well, and look, suppose the rest is history. I stayed there then to the day, I suppose. But look, no, we won an Ulster Junior in 2011, Brendan, and it was Craig and Keekums from Antrim. We went to a replay that game, and we beat them in the replay. It was a massive game, that big for the club as well. It wasn't an Ulster title, and we went across, and I think we played Fucking Gales over in Birmingham at the time, but it only gave us a week to prepare because of the what do you call it, the replay. So it was kind of rushed in and went over, and I suppose I'm making excuses, but look, things just didn't go to plan for us, and we were beaten the day and things like that. But that was always something that kind of stuck out. I thought we could have maybe went further in that competition as well, maybe got to an All-Ireland semi-final or something, but no, the sevens, then you mentioned the sevens. The sevens was great because yourself, going down to the sevens, they're a great weekend, and we were going down for many a year, and I suppose we were unfortunate never to won it, and got to have a couple of finals and were defeated and stuff like that. But to go down, I think this year, and we didn't really expect much from ourselves either. We went down and we kind of got our team together nearly the night before and things like that, and we went down with no expectation in some ways, and we got to the final against Katie from Armagh, and look, it was brilliant to won that for going up for so many years, and the likes of, I think Mickey was actually in goals in that team, and we Niall Jude there, and boys like that, and Murray McGrath and these boys, and it was brilliant to win that as well. And for us going up years, we had a couple of younger boys on as well, the McDermotts and that. So no, it was great to get over the line and that as well, Brendan. And
special moments, Joe. The All Ireland weekend, the buzz about it, and the team's up, and I've played in them sevens a few times. They were some of the best weekends of my life up there. It was just the crack was unbelievable, but there was such a buzz about Dublin. This special memory for you to lift that competition.
Look, as you said, the weekends just from start to finish. We used to go up in the Friday evening times, and we would come home on the Sunday after the Ireland final, and sure, we had great memories of it. I went up as a young boy as well to start, and Jesus, sure, it was brilliant. I loved every minute of it, and be able to go there and play against other teams, and I suppose the sevens was a bit more relaxed, and things like that. And obviously there's a gap between games and things, and you would have mingled with our teams and boys you might have knew from playing against them with county and stuff like that. So it was great. And then obviously you went out and you had your crack on the Saturday night and went to the Ireland final on the Sunday and stuff. So and the crack home and the bus, we used to take the bus up and things like that. So it was great memories. And I suppose to get over the line then there and near the end was probably extra special as well, to get that medal as well,
Yeah. And Joe, listen, as I say, phenomenal stuff at your county hurling group. Before I get that, Ronan McLaughlin wouldn't forgive me if I bypassed a bit of football there, and Birch Rise in the football as well. You had a good side at one stage there, Joe, left in the intermediate, got the senior quarter as well, I think, back in the day, and the Tasmanian Devil, of course, orchestrating all, and him and Mickey and I had the same things to say about you, Joe, about never missing training and your reading of the game and your attitude. You were great around the group as well in terms of mingling and helping boys and that. And both of them said the same things about you, which is a testament to you. But you were mixing the two. Did that have its drag as well? The fact that the football was going well then, and you were supposed to perform multiple times throughout the year in terms of football and hurling?
Do you know something, Brendan? And you hear this a lot, and suppose the day the dual players kind of gone now. Even obviously county level, it's nearly completely gone. But at club level, it's it's kind of gone back a bit as well, you know. And to me at that time, I just loved playing for sport, you know, be it hurling or football. It didn't matter to me, like. But I suppose I thought at that time one kind of complemented the other in some ways, you know, because we would have been known then in football, we would have been, you know, everybody would have been pretty fit because you've been playing obviously your hurling and your football, and you could have been out a few nights a week, and I suppose that you had a bit burnout and stuff, but it didn't really, I don't think it didn't really hinder us in many ways, you know, because, you know, as I said, we both managers kind of knew, they looked out if you were tired tonight, you took a rest from one or the other, and you work together, like, you know. And for me, it can work, like, you can work definitely with the both. And look, we got a great run in it. We won the football junior, I think 2011. That was the first time I think Burt ever won a you know, a title, a football senior title, sorry. You know, and then went on. And obviously 2016 we won an intermediate final and beat Mulford after a replay, which was a brilliant game as well, and things like that. And went on also the year after the junior. I think Colin McFadden had a wonder score for Schmeichels in the quarter final and beat us by a point, I think it was. But look, to me anyway, I think that both can complement each other, like playing hurling and football, definitely. Like, you only have to just look at Slough-Neil there. They're not a big parish or nothing like that there, and what they can do. So I'd be all for playing both anyway, as much as you can.
Yeah, good man. Allows the body, allows it. Joe, no bother to you. Joe, the All Irelands, you've won leagues as well with Donegal. The first ever All Ireland title. You were captain that time, were you, Joe? Can you talk us through just those I suppose the brilliance of that time and how hurling in Donegal started on the up and up, and it's continuing now?
Look, Brendan, I suppose around the best thing I think that came in was probably the Nicky Rackard, the Laurie Maher and the Christy Ring competitions, because like for a young boy growing up in Donegal playing hurling, you know, I never thought that you'd probably get to Croke Park to play hurling in Croke Park, like, you know what I mean? That was kind of, you know, probably wasn't realistic in many ways. So to get that opportunity then, that, you know, that your grade, that teams you were playing against were obviously you were competitive games, you know what I mean? So you had that opportunity. Look, if I put the head down as a team here, we can reach an All-Ireland final and play in Croke Park. So in 2000, we obviously won the Wallace, and we went on then, and Ray Jurek took over there, and like he did mighty work as well, like, and Ray won the beat Common, and so we did. And I was actually captain that year, like Ray being the captain was great as well, like to go up to the steps of the Hogan stand. But we beat a strongest common team, and thinking back, I suppose going in there, we weren't probably overly confident. You know, we were going in as big underdogs, and to give them, you know, to beat them that day was massive, really, for us. Like, you know, to give us that confidence. Then moving on, we won a couple of league titles and stuff after that. Then, and I think that was a massive day for Donegal hurling, really, to get over the line that day against a Roscommon team, you know, in Croke Park in a final was massive, really, Brendan.
And Joe, what was that? How many times have you played at Croke Park? Was that one of your first times, or can you remember your first time? Because I just remember as a wee lad, myself as a wee lad, I just remember my debut there. It was actually the old Croke Park. You're on about your age now, I'm showing mine. We're going back a bit now. It was actually 1998 it was. And I remember just hitting that place. It was such a magical place because I'd been a wee boy watching games. I actually watched a lot of hurling games there. My mum's from Galway, and I used to push over the turnstile. I was at a couple of Ireland semi-finals and finals supporting Galway. So I never thought I'd play there, Joe. Well, maybe in my heart somewhere as a young boy growing up I did, but you never know where the world will take you. So that aspect of it as well, Joe, being in there. And again, going back to what we were saying about Drumbo, that pitch that's there, you know, that it just encourages skill for hurling. So to be up there and to win the competition for your county at national level, it must have given you a great satisfaction. And as you said, the fact then that you could aim for a competition properly, and that's where Donegal are at now, you know, that they can properly compete. It's vital, and it's something I suppose that the football's trying to sort itself out with as well, and a lot of people are trying to cling on to things. But for you, that experience, Joe, I suppose, playing at Croke Park and all that brought with it as well, it must have been a magical time.
Definitely, it definitely was, Brendan. You know what I mean? I remember, I think it was the Laurie Maher final, the first time we ever got there, like, and look, you know, to be honest, you would nearly just happy to get there in some ways, like, and you were kind of awed by this place, and you were looking around, and we were actually beat by Rome that day. They got a couple of goals near the end and beat us, and I suppose the next time you end up, you kind of knew that, like, you know, we need to win here as well, like, you know what I mean, and you didn't probably take as much on board in some ways, but no, that day against Roscommon, you know, it was massive. I think, like, you know, we played really well. Like, you know, some of the work rate from the forwards. I remember vaguely, like, you know, some of the work rate from the forwards that day, and we got her a bit of luck too. You know, we had a man sent off, and I think there was a high ball into the square, you know, and the keeper was taken out of it more or less there by, you know, and the ref let it go and stuff like that. You know, we got her a bit of luck as well that day, and to get over the line, as you said, like, you know, in the National Stadium, you know, and look, to us, you know, all our family and friends and that were all there, and people from your club and different things like that. So it was really special, Brendan, to be honest. And I think it kind of gave Donegal hurling a wee bit more profile, you know, moving forward. It kind of brought things on, and know, and look, all you want to do is give every young person in Donegal a chance to play hurling. You know, I heard Colin McFadden on with you there a few weeks ago, and he said he never got the opportunity to play hurling, like, you know, and to me that's kind of sad, because I think that everybody should get the opportunity to play hurling, no matter what club you're from, like, you know what I mean. It doesn't matter where you're playing or what club you're from. You know, I think that everybody should be given that opportunity, because, like, you know, it's just fantastic to be able to go out there and play, you know.
Yeah, it is a very special game indeed. Just talk about Mickey McCann. One of the things he did say about you was that you know, you'd rest all weekend for the game. Of course, you were working with Mickey, and then he would say you enjoyed a wee night out, and you weren't too easily got on a Monday then. A lot of the time, that was his reading. Is this true or false? I think so, but it's true.
I would say, in fairness, Brendan, he wasn't far wrong now, and had he listened to plenty from him afterwards, you know. But no, look, Mickey was good to me now, in fairness. But come here, I always say I'd never make out the times there. I suppose I lost the run of myself for maybe a couple of years, you know, and look, I don't hide from the fact, you know, and Mickey, and around that time was a big help to me, you know, even when he was county manager and Ardle there towards Ardle's reign as well, you know. I suppose I probably, you know, my commitment levels or maybe might have dropped a bit and stuff like that. So, you know, the boys always kind of had me back, and thank God, you know, I turned it around and got back again and got back playing. But, you know, I always appreciated that, because even with Bert, with Madlocks and China and that around, I think you seen a hurling manager at the time and different bits and pieces. So the boys always had your back, and that's the great thing too about the GA, Brendan. You know, I suppose at that time, if they didn't really care and let you go, you don't know where you would go, like, you know. So they always had your back, and, you know, family and friends and stuff as well. I was very, very fortunate that I had so many good people around me at the time as well. And thank you, Brendan. You know, you're
very honest, Joe, in mentioning that, because I think we often hide from the fact that, you know, you can take a dip in life, and you at the time you were thinking you were pulling away, you were enjoying nights out, and you were kind of almost going to turn your back on it. And if you had it might have led into a bit of a spiral. But as it was, as you're saying, your club and county mates and the people around you all kept you on the loop, kept coming down saying let's go, and pulled you back out of it, Joe. So it's a good message to anybody in there that's, you know, we all go through a bit of dark time from dark periods in life, but you were in one, and you managed to pull out it with the help of your friends.
That's exactly it, Brendan. And to be honest, you know, maybe times I would have rang up and would have said maybe I'm not ready to go to training or something like that, and you know, the likes of you know, as I said, Mickey and Ardle's kind of over the teams county wise at that time, and you know, they would always kept in the loop. Probably, you know, come ahead, and Anthony Coyle over the road there would have been, you know, he would ring up. He's the kit man there for a number of years, and he would have come over and maybe collected me and said, "Come on, let's go," you know, and stuff like that. But I suppose it's important. I suppose anybody, like, it's just to keep going, really, like, and they have that. You know, I could have pulled away, and as I said, I don't know where things probably would have ended up. You know, you just don't know, but. They have that, you know, the GA there, and the boys that I played with, and the management. They kind of, you know, they kind of looked after me in many ways. You know what I mean? And look, we got back and joined me football and me hurling and different bits and pieces and family life and stuff like that there. You know, and I have a great family around me, as I said. You know, and I'm lucky enough now to live on my own. And you know, I have a great fiance there, Maria, and a wee son, Bobby. So it just shows, you know, and get married now in a few weeks, Brendan, as well. So look at how it just shows you it comes around and things like that. But no, as I said, I was very, very fortunate and very lucky to have good people around me.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Same as Joe, we're not about the friends and family. Joe, I was just thinking back, and I know you're not going to mention this, the final against Mayo, and we were looked like we're heading for defeat, and you conjure up a goal out of somewhere, an absolute cracker of a goal to pull us back into the game, and we go on and won the match. What's your memories of that game, Joe? Because that goal just stands out in my head so much.
Look, Brendan, I suppose we were kind of getting outrun, to be honest, in the first half. Hey, we first 15 minutes, and at that time the water breaks were in. You know, you were 15 minutes, then you got a water break, and we were glad to see it at that stage. You know, because we were 6s and 7s, and Mickey kind of pulled us in, and Matt and Jamesy and Gabriel, you know, and they got us together, and they said, look, boys, you know, we have to make a few changes, and they did, like, you know, and for me, I suppose the goal here, on with the goal there, and at that time, you know, I suppose I was feeling as fit as I ever was feeling, you know, when I was kind of up and down the pitch from wing back and stuff, and I got myself into a great position, and to be honest with you, I thought I was closer to goal than I was. So I had a go anyway, and thankfully it went into the net, you know. And remember Mickey saying to me after, you're lucky that went into the net. He says you should have tapped it over the bar. But look, it kind of brought us back into it. We got tagged on a few points and in half time, a couple of points. I think we were 2 points down just that then. We got ourselves together and regrouped at half time, and you know, it was a great victory because you know, Mayo were a fancy team at that stage, and it just shows you how it goes. I'm playing with most of them boys now down here, so look, that's the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, it just shows you how you can turn. Joe, just for Leitham All Irelands, was there any that you savoured more than other? Is there any that you thought that you weren't expected, the one that just came through out of the four?
I probably go back to the Roscommon one again, Brendan, and this is only me chatting personally, like, and it's nothing to do with me being captain or not. It's probably just, I think at that time we probably lacked that wee bit of belief, you know, going in against maybe teams like Roscommons and Mayos and these teams, you know, like, you know, beating them, we weren't really beating them at that stage, you know, and to get over the line against them, like, you know, that day massive, like, and I was down there a few weeks ago. Donegal played Roscommon in the next record there just a couple of weeks ago, and they were never in trouble, you know. So it shows how far it has moved on. Like, you know, the boys had a comprehensive one against Roscommon a few weeks ago. They got a couple of goals near the end. I know Roscommon to make it look a bit better, but no, I think we've moved on a lot, and it just shows you that it's moving in the right direction, Brendan.
Yes, indeed. And listen, Joe, I didn't realise this about what you're at now. You said obviously about Maria and wee baby Bobby down there. You're a happy man. You were in Galway travelling up and down, and you've ended up moving out to Mayo near Knock, which is handy for a man that goes to mass a few times a week, like I know you do a lot, Joe Dobardi. Joe, you're down near the Connacht Centre of Excellence there. Tureen is a club, is it?
That's right, Brendan. Yeah, Tureen.
And listen, Joe, honestly, I thought at this point when you pulled away there, I thought this man's just going to enjoy his life now and put the feet up. Little did I know that that's certainly not the case. That you are excelling down there with this Mayo club, winning championships and Connacht titles, and even getting to an All Ireland hurling final. Talk to me about this.
Hi, look, Brendan. Again. Look, I was travelling up and down we were living in Galway. Me and Maria was living in Galway at the time, and I suppose I was travelling up and down to play for Burton and play for Donegal. And look, I'm getting no younger, I suppose, and things like that. And just the travelling stuff was taking its toll. And then obviously we had the wee man was coming along the way and different things. And I just thought, you know, we were settling. We bought a house here in Mayo and we were settling down. I thought, look, it's time to make a few roots here and get to know a few people and things, and there's no better way than the GA to do that. So look, it was come here, I'm bored through and through, and it was a massive decision to leave your home club. But look, it's something that had to be done, and they're in a good place as it is anyway without me. So look, as I said, we moved on, and I'm very fortunate. I moved to, as I say, I'm probably very lucky to play with some great players and being in some great teams as well, you know, and you know, none better than this Tureen team as well. Like, you know, there's some brilliant players, and the club as a whole welcomed me and things like that. And we went on and we won the last 2 Mayo hurling titles, and we won 2 Connacht intermediate titles, beating Galway opposition in the final and stuff. And well, I went the whole way to the Ireland final intermediate this year in Croke Park as well, and we were pipped to the line by a Monaleen team from Limerick who, they had boys on there that won Liam McCarthy medals for Limerick, and I think 3 of them's on the Limerick panel this year as well, the hurling senior panel. So look, shows you the calibre of players we were playing against, and we kind of just near the end we just never got over the line. We had a couple of misses and that, and they tagged on a couple of great scores, but no, it was disappointing, I suppose, that we didn't get over the line, Brendan. We had the opportunity, and them opportunities don't come around too often, to be honest. But look, we're back training again this year. The boots are back out there again, and I'm tipping about playing a bit of football, club football there as well, and things like that as well. So look, as I said, if the body's willing, why not? And I'm enjoying it more now than ever. So as I said, I'm very fortunate, Brendan.
Joe, that's absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, after looking at your whole career and all that you've done in 17 years with Donegal and everything you've done with Bert and playing football, honestly, I could not believe what's happened here. And I suppose, Joe, in many ways, I know when I went to England as a young lad, back to Northampton, playing sport over there, I couldn't imagine not being over there and playing sport because of everything it did. It must have been a brilliant way for you to, I suppose, get known in the community and make new friends and nothing better than your club mates and you coming down and being able to add a lot of value to them. It must have been a great chapter in your life that not only you're on with a very successful team, but everything else that brings with it, the sport and the camaraderie and the friendships.
Exactly, Brendan. It kind of nearly gave me a new lease of life in some ways as well. Probably going in and in my head, I kind of had to prove myself in some ways again. You're down here, and I remember going to training, and at that time, a lot of the Turin lads would have been in playing with Mayo, and sure, I thought, Jesus, right, I was playing the games without the Mayo lads, and next thing they all came back. I think at that time they had something like 14 boys on the Mayo panel, and all these lads landed back, and I thought, cheekers, how am I going to get in this team? So it's like anything, you have to knuckle down and fight for your place and things like that. But as you said, outside of that as well, it's great, to get to know people and look, the community and the club welcomed me with open arms, and they were great to me, to be honest, and still are, and things like that. And I remember, it's funny, me and Maria went down into the shop one day and she said, what's keeping you? And I was on chatting to all these ones, and she said, geez, you know more people here now than I do. So it's just the power of the GA, I suppose, in many ways. You get to know a lot of people and they get to know you, and sure, look, it's great, isn't it, to have that opportunity as well, Brendan?
Yeah, Joe, it's massive. I mean, if you're meeting Galway sides and meeting Limerick sides, it's phenomenal stuff that you're competing at that level, and that's just how you ended up. So is that Maria's home club? Would that have been her club that you ended up there? That's where her family's from?
Well, they would just be from, it's in the parish there, Brendan, because it's really, they're a hurling only club, and then it's a football only club, you know what I mean there. The football only club would be Eastern Gales, there where they would be from. So then the local hurling club then would have been Turin, where I'm playing there as well then. So look, it's, as I said, I'm very fortunate to be able to play for them there now. And look, you never know down the road what way things work out. Maybe our own wee man might go and play there and things like that, so please God. But look, that's the way it went, and I was very lucky, to probably get into such a good club as well, after probably moving away from Burt. As I said, it's a hurling mad, it's very small, there's no shop, or it's just a small village, Brendan. There's no shop or nothing there. It's just kind of really the church and the hurling, and that's all they do really. And look, sure, I couldn't have came to a better place in many ways, to be I love the hurling myself, and as I said, and to go there and play was brilliantly. Yeah. Well, Bobby will have some career to look at when it comes to yours. Joe, you just mentioned the Nicky Racker there and Donegal. I've been at a couple of games and that. They're playing some brilliant hurling, as you said, controlling games. They're steady now in Division 2B, Joe, which was a situation where a few times Donegal got up, they couldn't handle it there. Now they're very stable, very comfortable there, in terms of the championship. And how do you see it? Do you think it's just going to come down to this dress rehearsal and then a final with Wicklow? Is that the way you're seeing it? I would say so, Brendan, to be honest with you. Look, I seen them there last 2 weeks ago now, it is, Brendan, but no, very, very impressed, Mickey, and I know he brought Jamesy in this year there as to help Gabriel with the coaching and stuff, and no, they're going very well, and some young players probably brought in a bit of new blood into the team as well, and it's really helped things. Mickey as well, you know what I mean. A few of the Burt boys there, Connor and Liam Og, and then you have Rory there from Satanta and stuff, and a couple of our young boys, you know, which has helped. And then you still have the old heads like the Deckies and the Stevie Gillespies, the Crickies, the Ronans, the Dannies. These boys still around there look massive in nets as well, you know what I mean. So no, I'd say it's the last game in O'Donnell Park against them in Wicklow will be a bit of shadow boxing, I would say, to say the least, to be done, and down to business then in a few weeks after in the Nicky Record final. But I know, look, Mickey, he has to get over the line against Louth, and not disrespecting them, but look, by all accounts, it's between Donegal and Wicklow, and I would give them a massive chance against Wicklow as well. You know what I mean? They're playing some great stuff. So I actually think Crow Park might actually suit them. You know, some flying machines there now at the minute as well in the team. So no, I'd fancy them to go all the way this year now. Yeah. Just the last game was the Fermanagh game in the park. What a game of hurling that was too, Joe, because I'd been watching football for a few weeks, and I was like, the difference between two teams just going at it compared to the out-and-out tactics of football and where things is at. In many ways, I say at the weekend, our minors lost, our ladies lost heavily. They're in a rebuild. Our seniors, of course, are in a serious moment of trouble, and that is going to take a bit of time to get around. So in many ways the hurlers are flying the flag. Joe, we're down to the last minute here. Joe, I just wonder, do you want to wrap it up? Any message for any, the body's still good, have you any message for any young hurlers, budding hurlers coming through just about playing for Donegal and their application to the game? Look, Brendan, as I said, I was very fortunate to play in great teams with great players, and any young boy coming through there now there's great opportunities there now. Like I think back in my career, and I think, Jesus, I was very lucky, and not just because I won titles and played with great players and won cups and stuff, but you know, the friends I made out of it. And I know people might say this or that, but some of the friendships I made out of it, not just from obviously my own club, but boys from all over the county, and you know, memories I have with them boys and things like that, games and nights out and after games and things that happened and stuff like that. Some brilliant memories and friends that I have there for life. So I find myself very fortunate, and as I said, it's certainly not over yet. I'll give it an hour rattle for a year.
Well, Joe, listen, the way you're going, anything's possible, Joe. Anything's possible. Listen, that was an absolutely brilliant career story there. Life stories here in the DL Debate. Joe, wish you all the best in the future, and thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Brendan, thanks. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Top man, Joe Boyle there. Fair play to him. Wrapping up the show there, folks. I want to thank Joe Dex for producing. Stay tuned for the excellent Monday night sessions. I'll speak to you all next week.
Till 9 p.m. daily in Saras Kitchen, and there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Hello, how can I help you?
I'm looking to claim on my insurance policy.
Okay, and what type of chip do you need to claim?